I know this ain't going down in Texas. Texas, Fort Bend, county sheriff, the sheriff in town. Eric Fagan had some things to say when asked from media about would he support more training for gun owners, and this is what he said.
Would you support stricter gun laws that require more training?
Let's work together. This is something that should be not partisan. We need to be proactive. So yes, I think that we should have more training. I'm all for that, more training.
So some of the things he says here, I actually agree with him. There should be more training. That's what we do at Black Guns Matter. We teach people the fundamentals and at least the basics of safety as the absolute beginning. So I agree with him. We should have more training for citizens. That's duh, right? Where he started getting a little crazy is when he starts saying, leaning kind of in the direction of, oh, we should be the people training. A real good initiative that he should start in his county, Fort Bend. He should get on his days off or have sovereign individuals from his county come and take firearms training from instructors and or other law enforcement officers. That'd be good for law enforcement, sovereign individual relations. It'll be very, very good. So if he thinks that's the initiative that needs to happen because people actually just need training, if it's about training, he should jump on board with it. Let's see what he say next.
Also check for mental illness before a person purchases a gun. Getting a driver's license, doctors check to see if you have epilepsy and things like that. And if you do, they deny you from getting a driver's license because you can harm someone else. Why can't we do the same with a gun? Nothing against it. It's an illness. If they get that illness corrected, fine. Allow them to have it. But until then, we take it away. A gun should be a privilege. You should earn that privilege.
Now he leaning more and he going more into goofy territory. He's saying, why can't, and there's a question. So I actually have the answer for you, Sheriff. Why you can't treat a constitutional right like a privilege is because one's a right and one's a privilege. This is where we start seeing law enforcement officers getting arrogant, not recognizing or appreciating or even utilizing their oath to the Constitution that they take. And they start trying to gaslight people into believing that we're supposed to do what they say as if they're the authority. And that is the exact opposite of the framework of the actual oath that he took. It's steering dumb. It's steering. I was with him on a training, and if he wanted to jump out there and try to help a little bit the people in his community. But now he's going into, if you at the doctor, if you got an illness, doctors diagnose what the illness is and give you a solution. They don't take your health away from you because you got bad health. He's trying to use this argument to say, well, if you got something wrong with you, that's not how rights work. Now, obviously, we're not advocating for people that are mentally disabled and a danger to themselves. That person should be in the hospital. Mental hospital, whatever that is. Obviously, gun owners are not advocating for folks crazy people to just run around and just, hey, you get a gun, you get a gun. This ain't fucking Oprah. When we start to see authoritarian law enforcement supposed officers ignore their oath or not even be aware of their oath and try to use these talking points to lean and convince the general public that may not be aware that this is for their safety and it's the right thing to do, it's cap. Let's see what he's talking about next.
The age limit, I think 21 to 22, because the brain development. Let's listen to science. The person's brain is not developed at 18. But will I stand up and say no? Because a parent can train that child at a young age. I have no problem with that. But if they go and show that that child is proficient, I'm fine with it. But let's just common sense. That's all I'm asking for, common sense.
A lot to unpack there. Now he's going into the next trope, the next narrative that a lot of anti-gun people say. First, do not get it twisted. Just because somebody's law enforcement or served in the military does not mean they are pro-Second Amendment or pro your rights or pro your freedom or actually have an understanding of the Constitution. So that's one. But now he went from level 1 goofy to level 9 goofy in like one swoop. Here's the huge contradiction with this argument about age. These same people will say, oh, maybe we should raise this age limit to 21. These people will not advocate the same way to say, maybe guys should not join the military, the young people to go in at 18, but they want to ignore the patriotism of people having the American human right to defend themselves and their homes and their families at 18 as well. These are the same people that say things like, oh, if you're 18, you should register to vote and do your service. The contradiction is at the same time he's saying, Oh, the brain is not fully developed. Oh, their mental health. Oh, their age, the brain. Let's trust the science. We heard that from 2020 to 2022. Trust the science. Now, all of the information coming out disproves the science. In this scenario, you're not following the science as he's advocating for. You got to follow the authoritarianism. He's talking about brain development. His brain doesn't sound fully developed. He's stuttering. He clearly has no PR training. And he's actually advocating to Americans in Texas that you should have more of your rights restricted. In Texas, that is the slowest, retardedest, clearly brain developed, Biden-esque levels mental retardation if I've ever seen it. This dude isn't somebody that I would generally listen to. Cherry on top caveat. He hit us with the, it's just common sense. The Decepticons had collaborators. People that worked with the Decepticons that were humans but were still working with, he's one of them. And they got little symbols and signs, all of the movies. In Blade, if you're a collaborator or whatever they called it, right? They had a little symbol on them. When you start hearing these guys in law enforcement, politician, public servant, when they start using the catchphrases, oh, it's just common sense. It's just common sense. It's clearly that they down with the Decepticons. They not the Autobots fighting for freedom and liberty. They're not the Patriots. They were King George and the boys, all right? So all of this is just high levels of goofy. Doubt highly that he's gonna keep that job down there in Texas in Fort Bend. As well as, I ain't even gonna research it, but if I had to place my bet, I'd bet money that this dude's a Democrat. I'd bet money on it. And y'all tell me, because you know, Maj is mostly right, but y'all like to tell me I'm wrong, right? Sometimes, I don't know why you do it. What do y'all think? Do you think he's a Democrat, a Libertarian, or a Republican? Comment in the section, and don't forget, this is the work that we do with Black Guns Matter. Basic firearms training, like he's advocating for, no extra rules, just information, letting the people learn about how to be safe and responsible firearms owners. All of these classes are free to all because of voluntary donations. We got about $240,000 more to raise for all of next year's classes. And at the Solutionary Center, getting that building outright. Go over to solutionaryuniversity.org, givesingo.com/solutionary, register for a class, donate to the work.